And let's talk collared lizards, also known as miniature T-Rexes. Or if you happen to live in Oklahoma, you know it as a mountain boomer. Yeah, this is state reptile there, by the way. The collared lizard got its name because if you look very closely, a little dog collar on it or something, like a little collar, like there should be a little tag right here, and that little tag should say like, "If found, please return to Wildman Phil," something like that. But that collar is where the collared lizard got its name. Now, there's other lizards that have similar markings. They're not all called collared lizards. Desert spiny lizards have like a collar-looking thing, but they're called desert spiny lizards because they also have spines. In any case, the collared lizard is a very interesting creature. It's found in a lot of the dry, open areas, lower desert, upper desert, into some of the other dry plains throughout a lot of the south central United States and northeastern Mexico. Excuse me, there's actually 9 species of collared lizards. This is the most common that most people would get a chance to see here, or as some people might call it, the common collared lizard. Some people know it as the yellow-headed lizard. And as I mentioned, the mountain boomer. Oklahoma is big for calling it that. But it's found in the open plains of like Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and so on. But it has to have wide open spaces because it's fast. You see, that's pretty much its defense. You see, the collared lizard is one of the fastest lizards in the United States. In fact, some books still refer to it as the fastest native lizard. The spiny-tailed iguana is kind of revered as the fastest lizard in North America, or in the United States, I should say. But that would be more correct to say North America because it's not native to the U.S., but there are populations. They're an invasive species, but naturally occurring in the United States. We can get all into who's the fastest, but the collared lizard, he's going to be standing on the stand with at least a bronze medal, if not a gold. All right. The collared lizard is so fast when it runs on just its back legs. Yeah, it's like a little T-Rex. He's kind of like sitting out there, like, oh, he's gonna eat me. I gotta run. Oh, And as he's out there across the ground, what we should do is slow motion because we're real high tech here. So let's say as he's running, he's like doody 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 doing across the ground, and as he is, he's got his tail behind him, keeping him from flipping over and being able to run very very fast. Now, I talk about the tail. Lizards, as most of us know, have tails that are made to break off. So if an animal tries to eat them and they grab it by the tail, that tail breaks off. The tail then wiggles around, which is really freaky. But the animal that sees the tail, that attracts their attention. They go after the tail. The rest of the lizard gets away. Well, the collared lizard, even though his tail can break off and it can grow back, the collared lizard doesn't rely on the tail breaking off for protection. In fact, it very rarely does. It has a very, very strong tail, doesn't it? That reminds me of a scene in the original Mission Impossible. He's coming down, clickety, clickety, click. Oh, they're coming. And then, whoop, he's gone. And then once he's outside, he runs on his back legs. It's really great. But the collared lizard's tail is thick, it's strong, so it's kind of like wheelie bars. So when this guy wants to take off, if he doesn't have a tail and he tries to run fast, he'd be like, oh, he's going to run off. Oh, now what, right? But by having the tail, it keeps him to where he can run on just these 2 legs, and he can run really, really fast, like a little T-Rex. Now, I talk about a little T-Rex not just because he's got the little short legs and he can't really do anything but the big back legs for running, but he also eats kind of like a T-Rex. In fact, this cute little guy you're looking at here is actually a cute little gal. Yeah, this is actually a female collared lizard. I think it's kind of a pretty lizard, but let me show you a male collared lizard. The male collared lizard looks quite a bit different. Some beautiful, spectacular colors. This is one of those lizards you can just tell looking at it from a distance if it's a male or a female because of the beautiful colors. Look at all the yellow mixed into here. And if this guy is sitting out warming up all day, he gets bright yellow spots on here. Some of them do have a bright yellow head. Others, it's just the bright yellow feet like you're seeing here. But this male, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to be running on his back legs. He's like a little T-Rex. Oh, and he doesn't just eat bugs. Now, they are carnivorous. They are definitely predators. And this creature is one of those that he's going to eat not just crickets and grasshoppers and stuff like that, but he'll also eat things like mice, other lizards, even snakes. I had a collared lizard this size before eat a snake this long. Yeah, you're wondering, wait a minute, how does this guy eat a snake like that? Well, because anything he can fit in his mouth, he can swallow. And he has a very big mouth. Look at that big mouth. Now, are you ready to close it? Open the mouth. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. That is a big mouth. Not only does it have a big mouth, but if you look closely, it has a bunch of little tiny teeth. I don't know if you can ever see the angle of those little teeth right there. Those little teeth can do some, yeah, like that, damage. He has a very fat head. He has some big, thick muscles and lots of teeth. And when he bites down hard. So he grabs onto a snake, and then what? Well, he has a lot of loose, stretchy skin. Look at that. Yeah, this guy can fit a lot in there. That's super stretchy. So what happens is the collared lizard grabs onto that snake. It's like a big spaghetti noodle. Yeah, he's like, oh, look at that, a snake. And he swallows that whole snake down, getting really big and fat and fitting the whole thing inside his belly. Now, sometimes he might bite off a little more than he can chew, if you will, and he might not be able to fit the whole thing in and have an inch or two of lizard tail or snake tail sticking out, but not to worry, because he's going to digest the first part, then he can swallow that. And that's actually the big advantage of eating something big like that. He can spend a lot of energy running around chasing grasshoppers and eating them, or he can go after one big thing and eat that, and then he can go underneath a rock, he can relax, he can digest his food, and he can stay hidden for a few days. Now, he'll usually come out, sit on the rock, warm up. That helps him digest. He has to be warm for that. But then he's going to go back underneath the rock. He's going to go in there and hide a lot more. And he can conserve his energy by eating one big thing. And that works out very well for him. But the problem is, he's a beautiful lizard. So this guy's sitting out on that rock. He's out in the upper deserts of Arizona, sitting on a brownish gray rock. And he's in the brown desert, and he's going, look at me, I'm beautiful. Because he's a beautiful lizard. Now, if you're a bluish, green, and yellow type lizard, and you live in a brown desert on gray rocks, you're not hiding. Camouflage is not his defense, right? So what happens? Well, what happens is he's sitting out there, that roadrunner running by, he looks over that, and he's like, look at that, what a beautiful lunch. And he's going to try and eat him, right? Yes, because roadrunners, being birds, they can see color. They see this thing sticking out like a sore thumb, a bluish-green lizard on a gray rock. He comes over to eat him. So what does a collared lizard do? He runs. And boom, he's gone very, very quickly. Roadrunners are fast. Collared lizards are fast. It's a fun race, I will tell you. Hopefully he sees the lizard coming, or the bird coming before it gets too close, and he takes off running, usually diving underneath a rock into a hole, or maybe going into a cactus where the roadrunner can't get into him, or whatever it is to be able to get away. Last case is if they do happen to grab the tail, he can break that off, but that's something that usually doesn't work as well. It's just being fast. Now, if it grabs it, this guy might turn back and do that whitey thing that he does. Well, that grabs onto the bird, he's probably going to, so his defense is being fast and being furious. That's really his defenses. Now, being that he is a lizard, and we talked about him needing the heat and the sun, he's diurnal. During the nighttime, he's not going to be out. He's going to be sleeping under a rock. Nothing can find him. Most of his predators then are diurnal as well. Things like the roadrunners, but a lot of snakes like to eat these, like pachinose snake, whip snake, coachwhip, faster snakes usually. Now, there are some snakes that will be out at night moving around. They might go into the rock. They might find this guy and be able to surprise him and eat him. Something like a little gopher snake or king snake might as well. Some of the places they live, that is something they have to worry about. But it's not like owls and bats and things are going to eat them, all right? Now, being out during the day, yeah, foxes and things like that will try and eat them as well. But once again, he's super fast, and if you're one of the fastest creatures out there, you just got to outrun whatever's trying to eat you, and that works out well. Now, I mentioned the difference between the male and the female, and you could see the difference. I think you can definitely see all that. His collar is very noticeable as well. But the female can actually be even more spectacularly information. The females do. When they're gravid, what does gravid mean? Gravid is when they have eggs inside them. If you're an egg-carrying creature, you're not pregnant, you're gravid. So when a female collared lizard has eggs inside her, which they'll usually have anywhere from 4 or 5 eggs up to 12 or 14 sometimes. Usually about 6 to 8 eggs generally, but these eggs are inside it, and as they're growing inside, the female collared lizard actually gets some bright orange stripes on her side. And these bright orange colors on that collared lizard make it not look tasty to other animals. Yeah, you've seen animals that have a bright color, the red, the orange, the yellow, Generally, animals think they're dangerous and they leave them alone because a lot of them are. Things like, bumblebees and wasps and, murder hornets and all these different things that animals know, hey, don't mess with that because they have what we call the aposematic coloring. They have the danger colors. And the female colored lizard gets those danger colors when she has eggs inside. She's slower. She can't run. I mean, you can imagine going from to, oh, I got 12 eggs inside me. He's going to eat me. Oh, I got to run and waddle away. All right, it doesn't work very well. So it helps to have those aposematic colors. It also helps keep the males away. Yeah, the males, they might know, hey, I'm really hungry, I haven't been finding a lot of food, and that slightly smaller lizard is something I could eat. And of course, it sees those colors, leaves it alone, and it works out very well. So in any case, the females can actually have some bright colors, not the same. They're not going to have the turquoise real bright or the yellow, that sort of thing. But it's a very, very beautiful lizard, like we had out before. The male is generally a little bit bigger. That's about it. You can see the head's a little fatter and so on. But the big thing is the coloration. Now, one other thing about lizards, if you really need to get into this to know and know for sure, you look at the bottom. Some lizards, they have colors on the bottom. But if you look at the back legs right here, you'll see that this guy has this row of glands. These are called femoral pores, and male lizards generally have very pronounced femoral pores, and so they're very easy to see. They're very hard to see on a female, but since we have a male, we can show you that. Now, none of us are going to be out there chasing this lizard down, grabbing it and going, yep, it's a male, but some lizards, that's really the only way to tell, like the horn lizard, well, a lot of lizards, we won't start listing them, but this one's easy because you can see on the color. And if you ever come across one out in the wild, generally it'll sit there on a rock. You get a little bit close, maybe 20 feet, maybe 20 yards, maybe a lot closer or farther, depends on the lizard. You'll sometimes hide down behind the rock, and then if they see you again, it's off running. And doing that, T-Rex run across the ground on the back legs, looking crazy. Not only outrunning the animal trying to eat them, but using their speed to catch their food. And of course, that works out very well. So, hope you enjoyed the collared lizard, the mini T-Rex. And I like to call it that because we always think of T-Rexes and stuff. We don't usually think of it. We're really made by the people encountering T-Rexes. So, it could be that this was the exact coloration of a T-Rex. I actually believe maybe so, and I think it's a little bit more spectacular being like that. With that, though, I do want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Don't forget, Wednesday morning, 11 o'clock Arizona time, we've got another show coming. We're going to go with a snake you may have heard of this time, boas. That's right, we're going to talk about the big, beautiful boas. And we're not the kind of boa like made of feathers that maybe you've seen in a theater. This is a little bit different. Maybe I'll get one of those out too. You never know. But the boas will be on Wednesday, and then Friday we have an episode that I think you'll enjoy. But with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed learning about the collared lizard, and we'll see you again on Wednesday live.